Welcome to the Healing Space Live and Online Chats with Roxanne and Rhonda. This podcast will share information on self-love, living a wellness-filled life, having healthy relationships, how to avoid unhealthy relationships, how to heal from traumatic events, and more. If this is your first time joining us, we welcome you and we hope this will not be your last. Enjoy the show. Welcome to another episode of Healing Space Live and Online Chats with Roxanne and Rhonda. So we're doing something a little different today. I'm the interviewee, so I'm going to just shut up and turn it on over to Rhonda and let her do whatever she's about to do to me.
Trust. Such trust. So hello, everyone. We're not sure when you are listening to this podcast. You may be joining us live right now, and we really hope you are. But maybe you're not, and you're hearing this at a later date and time. But I'm going to acknowledge that today is Thursday, February 29th, 2024. That means it's the last day of February, which means it's the last day of the month that we honor and celebrate Black History Month. We also honor and celebrate Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. So we know that teen dating violence is very prevalent all across the United States. And we want to bring some information to you this evening, including some statistical, educational parts, but more importantly, our personal experience. So as Roxanne said, we will be interviewing, or I will be interviewing her as we move forward into this time together. Statistically, about 33%, 1 in 3 teens who are in a dating relationship have reported some form of dating abuse. When you read the statistics, it includes males and females, and we want to acknowledge that we know it can happen to any gender identity. However, we also know the prevalence of male-dominated violence against female and against trans women. So that 33% does include males being abused, but you have to ask yourself, or if you're working in this field, you work with teens, you have teenagers in your home, or you know you're a youth group or youth pastor, any capacity when you're around teens, and you're looking at it, and oftentimes you're like, well, she hits him just like he hits her. There's such thing as ongoing imbalance of power and control. And that's what we're focused on, and that's what we're talking about. In a teen dating violence relationship where there is an imbalance of power and control, and one person is the victim survivor and has to do what the person who's using abuse tells them to do. And they may do that, as though I said, tell them, it may be through physical violence, mental violence, verbal violence, sexual violence. It could be from stalking, financial abuse. Even though that's not as prevalent in the teenage area, it does happen. Teenagers and young adults, ages 16 through 24 is the age group more likely to report intimate partner, teen dating violence, dating and domestic violence than any other group. So with that background, let's turn to the personal story of Roxanne. Roxanne, you know I got to start by thanking you. You're not a teenager. We can tell that by that beautiful silver hair. However, we acknowledge that once you're in a relationship, such as abuse at any age, it sticks with you. So can you start us out, please, with recalling your personal experience and tell us a little bit about it? What was it like for you? And, how did you acknowledge it? How did you know what it was?
Okay. Well, I was 16 and I had just moved into the neighborhood, and I was a cute little thing with a little tiny waist, and all the boys went crazy. I picked the wrong one though. Because he was cute, so I picked the wrong one. And it's so funny. This was back, oh my God, I have no problem saying my age. I'm 68. This happened when I was 16. So a lot of this stuff is like, I don't know all the details. For example, I don't remember how long I dated him, how long we were together. But I know that there was a point where he became very controlling. He would tell me, one day we were somewhere and I had my jeans on, and my jeans had a hole at the bottom because that was the fashion. We wore, these young people, they think they're wearing holes. They paying for holes now. We had our own holes that we made. And so my jeans had a hole at the bottom. He took his hand and he ripped my jeans all the way up to the thigh. Now that was some hard ripping because jean material is pretty tough. And his response was, "Didn't I tell you not to wear those jeans?" I'm like, okay. Now, before that happened, I can't remember when the violence really began, but all I remember is that day was the last straw for me. And I did something that when I shared this story, I encouraged no one to do it. And I thank God it turned out the way it did, because I went home to get a knife. I was done with him. And I had a big red afro. And I remember that night I went home to get a knife, and my mother was in the kitchen. I was like, so I couldn't get the knife. So he needs to thank her, and I do too, because I could have ended up in jail. But so I got a pair of scissors, high school scissors, art class scissors, which are dull. But I went down to the recreation center where he was that evening. And he started, as soon as I walked in, he said, "I thought I told you." And I just went at him with the scissor on his, he had on a leather jacket. Them scissors didn't do a daggone thing. But what it did do was it scared him straight. He never put his hands on me again. But and what I remember about that relationship, one of the glowing red flags that I didn't see. So I was 16. I think he must have been 18. Because how old do you have to be to go into the service? 18, right? Mm-hmm. So he was 18, because I do remember him going to the service. But so he's 18, and he already had like 4 or 5 kids by different women. So to me, that's a red flag that I didn't see then. But today, there's no way I would have, it's like that I would have run from that. But yeah, so that's basically what I remember about that. The controlling, telling me what to wear, didn't I tell you, that type of thing. Yeah.
Thank you, Roxanne. Can you? I want to come back to some of what you just shared. Before I come back to that, I want to ask you. You had I don't know what you said, the little hips and the little swag and the little twist going on. So all the guys came after you. What was your feelings, as you recall? What were your feelings in the beginning toward this guy? There's a phrase called Prince Charming. The Prince Charming effect, when they come on, sweet, kind, loving, doting on you. Now there's a term now called love bombing, which is a guy or a female, but right now we're talking about a heterosexual relationship. So I want to focus on it in that sense. But, a guy telling you, "I love you, you're so beautiful." One of the signs I often say that we miss is you're not like the other girls I've dated or the other girls I've chilled with, so putting you on a pedestal, so to speak. So I hear that he really sought you. However, what were your feelings toward him? What attraction did you have?
Honestly, I can't even barely remember, because dramatically, I can't even remember the beginning. I don't remember. All I remember is I thought he was cute. That's what we used to do. We used to think somebody's cute, But I didn't think I was in love with him, although I know now that wasn't love, No, I just can't remember that part. That's part of not blocked out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for being honest with that. So you also said that I went home to get a knife. I was coming back with a knife. Can you remember what your feelings were then when you had that knife, when you were you didn't get to get the knife, so you had the scissors. But even when you were going towards home to get the knife, can you remember what kind of thoughts you had? What was going through your mind?
No, I don't remember details. All I remember is I was sick of him. And I do remember telling him, "You are not my father. You're going to tell me what I can wear and what I can't wear." I do remember that. And I just remember like just feeling when he tore my pants. I don't even remember walking in the house. I don't even know if my mother even saw those jeans torn. She probably didn't. I can't imagine that she would have. But she was in the kitchen, and the way I went, so that made me go straight to my bedroom, and I don't even remember changing clothes or anything. All I know, next thing I know, I was at the recreation center and trying to stab him with some scissors. That's all I remember. It's
Yeah.
weird.
I know oftentimes when I work with teens, I hear them say things like, I wasn't afraid, I may have been shocked, that I was tired, I was angry, and I was determined just not to take it anymore, particularly when they want to or intend to physically strike back. However, I just want to say to teens listening, it's not always the safest thing to do, but we're going to talk about something else, like I said, that Roxanne talked about already. She mentioned red flags. We're going to get into that a little bit. I just want to make sure we say real clear that Roxanne is saying that in that moment, she can't remember what it was, but she was just determined that she was tired of it. She recognized the feeling being as in, you're not my father. You're not this person in my life that's supposed to have this kind of power or control and make these kind of choices about me or for me. So I can hear you saying that real clearly, Roxanne. I just want to say to teens, young adults, because remember, though it is February, Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month, 16 through 24. So we're talking to young adults also, that at that age group being more prevalent or being the group that will report abuse more than any other age group, want you to be able to recognize what are your feelings about this person? What attracts you to this person? Because sometimes when you figure that out, as Roxanne is saying, she can't remember hers, but sometimes because of their approach and a person who uses power and control, their intention to smother you, and to use the term I said earlier, the love bombing, the making you feel like you're different and special. And you are special. You're so special that you don't deserve to have anyone abusing you, putting their hands on you, getting in your head and using mental abuse over you either. Right. So in that sense, you are special. Oftentimes, when young adults or young men and anyone who uses power and control is saying to you, you're special. They're doing that with the intention to isolate you and make you feel different in a way that you will tolerate their behavior. So pay attention to your feelings. Did you really like this person, or was it their love smothering you that made you more attracted to that person? And oftentimes it may be the situation. Roxanne was 16, he was 18. That's pretty close in age. But oftentimes it's like you are 15 and he's 18. You're 15 and he's 19, right? Or the same. I worked with a young man a few years ago, and he was a junior in high school. She was a senior. She graduated high school and went on to college, a local college, just about 45 minutes from Pittsburgh, his home, her home. She had a car and she would come home every weekend. He felt like he couldn't get away from her at all. He wanted to break up with her. He didn't know how to break up with her. And one time she used her car as a weapon and she pinned him up against a building with her vehicle, right? So again, I want to acknowledge that we know any gender identity, any ethnicity, any social status, because we know it happens in one neighborhood, the other neighborhood, and the one that you're not thinking about, it happens there also, right? So we want you to just think about what might be red flags. Roxanne, can you talk about red flags, the ones that you missed, as you said, and or just in general knowledge? What would you say are some red flags that you would like to share?
Definitely that controlling behavior, the controlling thing. But can I go back real quick? I just remembered another teen dating violence experience I had, which I never thought about it like this because it involved rape. Mm-hmm. And when you said this age difference, that's when it came back to me, because I was 13 and my boyfriend was 19. Can you imagine? And of course, I was not allowed to go with him. My mother told me I couldn't date him because he was too old. Again, he was cute. So I'm going to sneak and date him anyway. And he stole my virginity. He raped me on 3 different occasions. And when I think back, that's another one that's a total block out of I don't know what that's about. because I'm like, I don't even remember having no conversations with him or anything. I'm like, how was I in a space alone with him for him to rape me on three different occasions, you know? And so yeah, I was so-called boyfriend girlfriend. So that was another teen dating violence relationship went bad. But some of the red flags I would say, like I said, the controlling behavior. To me, a red flag, like I said earlier, was the fact that he 18 and he already had 5 children by different women. I think that was a glaring red flag that I missed. What else? What else? Red flags. There's so many of them. I can't even. All of a sudden, they just escape my brain right now. But yeah, the control to me was a prevalent one because that's what it's all about: power and control, right? So he had that control. He was trying to control me. I wish I could remember how long I dated him and what the time frame was. I can't imagine that it was more than a year. I'm not sure. You know.
But you don't say more than a year.
You broke up and say that again?
When you say it was probably not more than a year is a long time to be in a relationship where someone's ripping up your jeans and talking to you, talking down to you, and telling you things that you can and can't do according to them. Yes, that's a long time, right? So there's some.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, please go.
No, I was going to say, I don't think it was more than a year because we moved. I remember we moved to East Liberty, so that was the end of that. So I don't think it was too much more than a year.
Okay. So when we think about red flags, oftentimes people say, well, they were arguing. In a controlling relationship, the victim survivor doesn't get to really argue. They may initially say some things back, but that usually gets shut down because you realize that the behaviors increase in danger and intensity. So if during the first time my partner, boyfriend, says something I don't like, and I may sass back or, roll my head and do whatever, and then he gives me a look, and I'm like, And that look for me gets associated with a knot in my stomach. At 13, 15, 16, I probably can't quite describe that knot in my stomach, but I know it was there and I know it wasn't good. I know it didn't make me feel happy. Like I wanted to jump up in his arms and kiss him. Like I just realized that knot in my stomach just was telling me something. And then over time, right, the communication style, the fact that this person is always right. That whatever they say, and I don't care if it's, no, I don't want to say I don't care. It's whatever we're talking about, even if it's something about him and I, if we're talking about, I want to go to the movies to see, I'm trying to think of an old movie, something, I can't think of it right now. But anyway, if it's I was trying to think of a movie from back in the 70s, but say I want to go out and I want to go to the movies and the movie I choose, whether he goes or doesn't go, his response is, that movie's dumb. Even if he goes, the movie's dumb. And then followed up with statements like, I don't even know why I let you choose the movies. You choose dumb movies, right? There are so many red flags that we miss, right? Because we hear that. And if I'm 15 and you say, you choose dumb movies, I might just say, go ahead. Oh, the movie wasn't dumb. You fell asleep during the movie. And I don't notice, right? But guess what? I get that knot again. I get that knot that I had when he looked at me a certain way, right? It's another red flag. Jealousy. A lot of people say extreme jealousy. And I'm like, just take out, we don't need to describe jealousy. Jealousy is jealousy is jealousy. It doesn't have to be extreme, a little bit of jealousy, somewhat jealous. Jealousy takes away from, it doesn't add to. So if I'm jealous of you, I don't like something about you, and I don't want you to really have that. If there's something I can do to ruin it, I would do it, right? So that's what jealousy is. Jealousy is, and this was true for me right here. I had a boyfriend when I was 15, 16, 10th grade, 15. He was a senior, 17, right? And he was so jealous that he didn't like me to be around my own brother. And I thought, that is ludicrous. I live with my brother and my parents. What do you mean? But his statement was, well, your brother got friends.
Oh my gosh.
So you understand, Roxanne? Can you kind of
Yeah,
fill in some of that?
yeah. I'm so glad you brought up the jealousy thing because you know, I used to do. We used to. First of all, I've been out of the world of dealing with teenagers for so long. This is Rhonda's wheelhouse. I deal with the adults, but oh my God, I just lost my train of thought.
You want to say something about jealousy?
Okay, yeah. So go into the schools and community centers and teach on this, and me and Diana Shiverini, we would always say what you just said. We didn't believe it was extreme jealousy. And some people think, oh, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of jealousy, and some people really believe that. I don't get that. I don't understand why is it okay to be jealous of somebody,
Right.
especially after the way you explained it. It's like it makes no sense to me, but yeah, it's there.
Right.
Yeah. So you just said something else, and I kind of cut you off, I think.
That's okay. No, it's great. Just a couple other red flags. Somebody who's abusing drugs and alcohol, because it gives an excuse. It's not drugs and alcohol do not cause abuse. You're the belief system that says it's okay to do this, as well as the environmental training and observation that a person has had, because that's the number one way that domestic violence continues to or continues because I was going to try to say perpetuate. Yeah, that's how it's perpetuated because people learn it growing up, you know. So over the years of seeing that and believing it, that's how you're supposed to be. Then that is the behavior that people carry. Abusive people, not people, abusive people carry into their relationships, or young adult and older relationships. So drugs and alcohol do not cause it, but the belief system that says it's okay is what one of the causes. And the other number one cause, again, is that it is intergenerational. However, drugs and or alcohol can give me an excuse, especially if I'm 16, 18 years old, not even old enough to drink. So when I drink and I may become intoxicated and can't handle my alcohol, and then I hit you, punch you, grab you, unfortunately, Roxanne, rape you, thank you so much, because that's always so difficult to remember. But if I do something to you, I have a built-in excuse. Oh, babe, I did what, babe? Oh, babe, I was drunk, wasn't I, babe? Now, I was drunk, wasn't I? Now, first of all, you know you were. You don't have to ask me that, right? However, when you say I was drunk, babe, you know, y'all, everybody in the audience, I know everybody listening to this right now in your home, in your car, wherever you're, finish this sentence. You know, I didn't, I heard y'all say it. You know, I didn't mean it, right? I was just drunk, right? Or babe, you know what? I'm gonna quit drinking liquor. I ain't gonna drink no more hard liquor. I shouldn't be drinking like that anyhow. I'm trying to make the blank team, basketball, hockey, soccer, football, whatever. I shouldn't even be drinking all like that. I'm gonna just have a couple beers every now and then. So I'm just gonna chill, maybe smoke me a doobie, whatever they call it nowadays, a joint, doobie, whatever. Y'all know what I mean. But you know, just saying that I'm smoke a little bit, drink a little bit of beer, but I'm not really going to indulge in hard liquor, as if the hard liquor was what caused them to do that act, right? And that's not it. Please listen up, y'all. Please just listen to these things, because this is what really happens, right? Recognize and know it for yourself, right? I want to get too ahead of myself, right? Roxanne, I want to come back to you then. And this is hypothetical. You could say it based on what you've missed in either of the two relationships you've just described that was horribly abusive towards you, or as well as just from your knowledge. What are some things you think teens miss early on in the relationships?
I was trying to let me think. What do they miss? They miss. They don't know what love is, so they tend to equate, like you said, the bombing. I don't even know all this new terminology, the love bomb and the smothering, but I know it is. They interpret that as love, and it's not. It's a part of the controlling and the getting you set up to isolate you. And can I just say this real quick? It's baffling me because all of this stuff that's happening to teens, it happens to adults. A lot of the stuff, because I've experienced, as you know, an abusive relationship as an adult, and a lot of the stuff that happened to the teens, I've experienced more of that as an adult than the teen relationship. The isolation, getting me set up for the isolation. He was trying his darndest, but we won't go into the adult relationship. But yeah, I think I digressed again. Sorry.
No. That's excellent. That is excellent. You said that oftentimes you believe teens miss the love bombing, that they equate that love with some type of security, or
Right.
their behavior, their controlling behavior as some type of love, right? And that's one of the lines, right, that abusive people use, right? I only do this because I
love you, and I'm like,
love you.
well, don't love me. I don't need that kind of love. I'm good by myself. I'm all right,
Yeah,
But
that's true.
What else do they miss? What did I miss? I just still go back to that. If somebody's telling you how you should dress, where you should go, who you can hang out with, those are all things that I think teens miss, that they actually are qualities of a abusive personality. So yeah, no one should be telling you any of that stuff. You have parents who do that.
Yeah. You just brought up another very important part, Roxanne. You said the isolation, that want to be with you 24/7. And, it's so sad nowadays because of these things here. If y'all can't see that, if you're listening, you can't see it, but I'm holding up a cell phone. When we were teenagers, Roxanne, how many phones was in your house?
That one on the wall with the big old long.
Yes. One phone in the kitchen on the wall with a long cord, right? And you would take that cord and stretch it as far as you could to get away from your mama so you could have that conversation. But to me, it's so scary now for teens because there is the 24/7 leash, the cell phone, right? So I have had students talk about their phone pinging at 11 p.m., 12 a.m., 1, 3 in the morning, continuously pinging, right? And then when you don't answer and your partner shows up at 7:30, 8 a.m. to pick you up for school, right? And to your mom and your dad, they might not see this. Parents, I'm here to tell you, you might look at him and think, he's so nice. He leaves his house and come all the way over here to walk her to school. Please pay attention to smothering behavior, right? Please, right? I lost my train of thought, but that being the whole thing, like, smothering, isolation, wanting to be around you all the time, calling you, texting you, come at 7:30, 8 in the morning. Where were you last night? And then another red flag, accusations. Oh, I know you were doing blank, with so forth and so on, this person, that person, right? And even if you were with that person, that could have been your choice. But you could have been in bed. You could have said, I told you I have a calculus test this morning. I went to bed at 10 o'clock last night. And then the abusive partner goes, oh, yeah, sure. Let me see your phone. And like, why do you need to see my phone? And you don't want to give them your phone initially. But remember that knot in your stomach is even harder and tighter now because the abuse behavior has escalated. He's not just giving you a look anymore. He's just not returning your calls anymore. He hasn't maybe necessarily hit you, but he has gripped you up. I can't tell you. I'll tell you this. If I had $1 for every young man who has between the ages of 13 and 18, 13 and 20, who told me, oh, no, Miss Rhonda, I ain't hit her. I mean, I gripped her up a little bit, but I didn't hit her. You did what? I mean, like I just gripped her up. I had to just to help her, check this out, y'all, to help her settle down.
My life was almost taken because he wanted to settle me down.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. He said he was dragging me down this long hallway to the bathroom, which is a dangerous spot. He said he was going to throw me in a tub of water to calm me down.
Wow.
Instead he was, I always get him mixed up, choking me, strangle. What's the word?
Strangling.
Yeah, mm-hmm. I did look it up, and that choking is totally different. Yeah. So he was strangling me, and so that was the adult relationship. But yeah, That's what they do. They, I'm gonna calm you down. Meanwhile, he's the one that's enraged.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point. Good point. Roxanne, did you have anybody you could have talked to?
Nope. Sure didn't. If I did, I didn't know I could, because this
Yeah.
wasn't a thing. We weren't talking about relationships and stuff like this when I was a teenager.
Right. Right. Right.
We didn't have the community, the support groups, and like we do. Like, we just didn't have that then. So no, I never told anybody. Well, I guess my girlfriends knew, and then with we're not talking about that. We got so many conversations with me about the rapes and stuff that I never told anybody, because I was I don't know why I never told my mom about that first rape where the guy took my virginity, because I still don't know why I never. I think I was ashamed of what happened, and that's another thing. Why are we ashamed of someone else's behavior?
Yeah, because they tell us after they rape us, they tell us you're a slut. And it's that whole confusion getting in your mind, twisting things around. And then after raping you, telling you a slut, but wanting to have a relationship with you, they come back with a gift. I don't care. Make the gift whatever you want to be. Nowadays, it could be a gift card. It could be getting your nails done nowadays. But back then, it could have been flowers. It could have been something, a teddy bear, stuffed animal, right? Up on Roxanne, am I touching something?
Never gave me a nigga nothing. That
never gave you
called a cuss word, but I changed my mind. He ain't never gave me nothing but rape 3 times.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So that's very dangerous, y'all. Hear that? Very dangerous. I'm not saying it's not dangerous if the person gives you gifts. That's dangerous also, because they're trying to really win you over. But Roxanne is sharing with us right now that after being raped once, there was no makeup, no teddy bears, no flowers, no money, but there was another rape. Right? So please, young people listening, young adults, parents, teachers, youth pastors, coaches, mentors, friends of the family, if you are around youth and young adults, look out for signs, look out for warning signs, look how they may have changed their behavior. Did they change the way they dress? Maybe they did. I mean, nowadays you pay $80, $90, $150 for a pair of jeans with holes in them, right? That's what you do. That's the style, right? But is your child very fashionable and all of a sudden they're not, right? Did your child wear low cuts and now she doesn't, right? Is your child all of a sudden wearing bulky sweatsuit clothes? Is your child often now in their home, in their house a lot? And that's hard for parents for 2 reasons. As a parent, we love it when our kids are home. They're not out in the street. They're away from danger. It feels good and safe as a parent that your child is up in their room, right? That's good, right? And then the second reason that they're home, we're glad they're home, is that we may get a chance to talk to them. We feel kind of glad about them being home. We might get a chance to talk to them, and they're not out with that person. But see, they might not be out with that person because they're not allowed to be out with that person right now. They're not allowed to be out. Please look for these kind of signs in your friends, right? I've already named the adults, coaches, parents, youth pastors, teachers, but as your friend, right? If I'm your friend, Roxanne, and Roxanne and I didn't meet until our adult life, but if I'm your friend, right, when you're 16, 17, and I see you changing, I need to say to you, Roxanne, I don't want to get all up in your business. I just want you to know that I care about you. If you ever want to talk to me, I'm here for you. I'll listen to you, and anything I can do to help you if you want me to. Roxanne's response to 16, help me. Who said I need help? But that's okay. Don't give up. Don't give up. If you're trying to help a friend, don't let them dissuade you and push you away. They still need you. And once you've made the initial approach, they'll know you are there for them, right?
I'm so glad you said that, because we did an orientation for our new launch that we're doing, and one of the women said, "Oh, she's a past healing space participant," and she came to the orientation, and she said, "Yeah, I met this woman at your. I tried to get this woman to come today, but she wouldn't come. She just doesn't get it. She don't want to hear it." And she said, "I met her at your in a healing space many, many years ago." She said, "So I'm just not dealing with her anymore." I'm like, no. I said, if I had felt like that, we wouldn't be having these sessions right now. You can't not deal with her anymore. You have to meet her where she is. She's not ready to deal with this issue, but don't give up on her. So yeah, you can't give up.
Roxanne, as we start winding down, a, a lot of teens nowadays, teens and young adults use the word toxic, and they separate that from being abuse. Oh no, it ain't abuse. Man, Miss Rhonda, I hope you never abuse me. I mean, he can be toxic sometimes, or she can be toxic. She wild, she crazy, but it ain't abuse. Can you talk some about the denial factor that is often present? That will hold a teen or a young adult in a relationship, right? Can you talk some about that for a minute?
Oh, I probably not because, but rephrase that again. Say that again for me, please.
Okay, I'm sorry, I made it really long. Let me make a plain question, right? Sometimes teens don't call it abuse, they call it toxic. Yeah. So can you talk about like when people use language to deny the reality, what might happen?
You're gonna deny the reality. You're gonna suffer in the relationship. You're gonna it might last longer than you anticipate. It's going to continue to go on, and I even though that teen relationship ended and the adult one occurred, what happens is it gets progressively worse. If you don't get out of it, it's going to the abuse is going to increase. And I'm sure had I stayed with that person when I was a teenager, I'm sure it would have been, got worse. But we moved. But yeah, it gets progressively worse. Because as the adult, of course, it started off with arguments and the ignorant talking to you or talking down on you and putting you down. You don't have any self-esteem and this, that, and the other. And then it progressed from verbal abuse to the physical abuse. And that's normally what happens. That was my experience anyway.
Mm-hmm. Great. Well, Roxanne, I thank you for sharing your personal time and experience with us in the audience. So glad that you have survived and that you have been able to take your experiences and turn it into such dynamic work, right? And as we close out, I'm going to ask you to two things: to name your program as well as give an email. So if you could just think about that, because I'm going to ask you to do that, right? But whoever's listening to this, right, again, whatever point you are, a pastor, a teacher, a friend, a cousin, an auntie, godparent, uncle to a niece, whoever you are. And wait, let me put this out there. Or you see the person in your life who is using this type of behavior, that needs confronted too. We can't just let people who use abuse act like we don't see it when we do see it, right? But as you are listening to this and you are observing a teenager, a young adult in your life, and you notice these things, right? We really are strongly encouraging you to reach out to us. In a minute, Roxanne's going to give you an email address where you can reach us, right? And I just want to say, when you're listening to this, regardless of what month, I don't care if it is February, if it is July, I don't care if it's September, please know the importance of sharing information about teen dating violence, about youth, young adult dating and domestic violence, about domestic violence on college campuses, which is also off the charts, right? Please, or even your adult relatives and friends, anybody in any age group, please reach out to any of these resources. I'm going to give you one that is a national number. It is 1-800-799-SAFE. 799 safe, because that's what you want to become. You want to become safe in your relationship, right? And that's for any age group. Respect.org is another one geared toward teens, right? And there's another national app, and it is going to come to my mind in 2 seconds. I'm going to come back to it. I'm embarrassed. I'll come right back to it. Bright Sky.
I know it too. It's driving me crazy.
It's Bright Sky. The Bright Sky app. You can download Bright Sky on your phone. It will give you information. It will help you define for yourself if you may be in an abusive relationship, and it will give you resources all throughout the United States. Maybe you are now 22 and you're on spring break and you all went to, I don't care where, but we'll say Florida. And then that's the first time your abusive partner, who you didn't recognize the signs of verbal abuse, you didn't recognize the signs of isolation, you didn't recognize mental and emotional, but now you're in Florida and you got on that cute little swimsuit and he snatches it off of you in front of everybody on the beach. And then, now that knot in your stomach is now really responding. You are now realizing this is what was going on all along. Bright Sky app will have information for you right there where you are in Florida. Bright Sky, 1-800-799-SAFE and expectrespect.org. And Roxanne's going to give you, in closing, our email that you can reach out to us, teenagers, young adults, anybody listening to this, parents, you're dealing with this. Please give us an email because we would love to follow up with you. Thank you, Roxanne, and thank you everyone for being here this evening.
Okay, and before I give you that information, I really wanted to say to the teens, if your partner is blaming you for his behavior, please, please, please don't go for it. It's not your fault, okay? He needs to, or she, because your partner, whether he or she or whatever, okay? And then also, I strongly encourage you to find an adult that you trust, that you can speak to about this issue. You can't, I don't want you to suffer in silence. I know people who are in their 60s and 70s and they are still suffering and because of the abuse that they endured. And that's a daggone shame, because that abuser has gone on about his business or her business, living their life, and you're suffering in pain. So I don't want you to do that. And so what I'm going to give you is our website. It's WARHEALS.me, warheals.me. And the email address is warheals@gmail.com. So we just launched an initiative which does not have a teen component yet, because my eyes have been open. I don't know about y'all, but I learned a whole lot today, because my experience with the teen dating violence is totally different than what these young people are going through today. I can't even imagine. This is crazy. So I know Rhonda this is her wheelhouse. She loves teenagers. So I'm going to be talking to her, and she has a friend who loves working with teenagers too. We really got to get this thing off the ground, because this is crazy, Rhonda. I had no idea all of this stuff was going on out here, because I don't have teenagers in my around me on the regular, so I didn't know. But I appreciate you as well for sharing all of this invaluable information. I'm telling you, I will be putting this up on our platform and on our dashboard, so people can watch it again and again and again. And I thank you so much. Again, warheals.me, WAARHEALS.me, or WAARHEALS@gmail.com. Yes. Thank you. Anything else?
Thank you so much. That completes it for me. Appreciate you.
That completes it. Okay. Thank you guys for listening or watching.
Once again, we want to thank you for joining us today. We hope that you heard something which will stick on your mind this week. And even more, we hope that you will find someone to share the message with. We have one request. Please engage with us. Follow us and like and subscribe to all of our social media platforms. We're at warheals_ on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Spelled out, that is WAARHEALS_. And on Facebook, you'll find us at War Heals. Please plan to join us next time. And in the meantime, you can find all of our episodes archived wherever you listen to podcasts. See you next time on Healing Space Live and Online. Chats with Roxanne and Rhonda.